NAV Easy Security is a solution from mergetool.com. There's currently more than 50 customers running it worldwide in more than 10 countries. So what is it? It's a complete solution for NAV security. It works both in the RoleTailored and Classic client, and the full application is available in both places. There's really two pieces of it. The one is field level actions and data security. It's something that can't be done in standard Navision with permission, and it actually allows to control access to forms and pages, access to individual fields on forms and pages. You can control the actions and buttons, and you can also filter data both on form and pages, so you can limit what records a user can see. The other part of it is for roles and logins, and that's a piece that already is in Navision, but this one is much improved application with a lot of tools that assist you in creating new roles and setting up logins in an easier way. You can record permissions with the SQL profiler and client monitor. It's possible to both groups, roles and companies. So when you are assigning maybe 30, 50, 100 roles to a person and you need to do it in 10 different companies, it gets quite complex. By doing groups, you probably end up with a few permissions under each user. You can even have permission as another user, so you don't have to maintain every user in the system. It also allows you to do restore points, so as you edit permission, you do it offline, and then when you get ready to publish it to live, it will do a restore point of your current permissions, so if something goes wrong, you can always revert back to the previous one. It also has a very simple way of dealing with object level permissions. You basically only specify the objects you need to have extra permissions for, and Easy Security maintain the rest of them. So the release code unit, for example, is a good example on that one, where you don't want people to have access to release. There's really no other way than limiting the object for it, and that's all handled by Easy Security. Field level and data security is a very powerful solution to add additional security on top of what NAV's normal security is capable of. If I look at my sales orders as it is right now, I'll see that I have access to sales orders. I can create a new one. If I go back, I can also create credit memos and so on. So I'm allowed to create all kinds of documents in here. If I go, say, a new credit memo, I have full access to edit this one in here. With the field level security, I can actually control that one. So let's go in here, and I can see down here I've set up the blank user, but I also set up myself down here. So let's go edit this list in here. And I'll just move it out here because I need to get back to it many times. I'll go down to my sales, and I'll go in and say I need to have read-only access, both for the header and lines and so on. So if I now go back to my sales order processing, if I look at quotes, suddenly all my menu items are grayed out. If I create a new one, it's actually grayed out also when I get in here, and the same would be the case for other document types in here like the sales order. So that's a little more than I wanted. I want to have a simple access but not everything. So let's change it here to basic instead and see what now happens. So if I now go to my orders, it's still grayed out in here, but I can click on a new one. And I now have access to only some fields, like here my sell to customer number field, and if I go down here I can see several of my ship to information is available. So I can actually still type in a sales order, but I just can't change a lot of the important information in here that I'm not supposed to change when I actually create an order in here. So I'll go here and put in 2 pieces. So I can't change the description and other information at all, non-editable in here. So let's see how this is done then. So I go in here and let's look at how this basic code actually is done in here. So I have basic, I can actually control each individual object in here. So if I look at it, I have a page 0 And that's actually all pages that are not specified later on. So if I go down here, I can see, I can view that one in here. I could also have actually hidden it. So let's say I wanted to hide my credit memo card. I would actually go in here to my sales credit memo. I'll basically go in and say I actually wanted to hide that one. But let's look at the sales order, how that one is set up also. The form itself is editable, but each individual field is then controlled. And again, field 0 means everything else. And then I have the fields that are actually being allowed to be edited down here. Let's say I wanted to go ahead and add some down here also. I'll go in and add my payment terms code. And I want to go ahead and hide that one. Same happens for the controls down here, where I have control 0, meaning everything is grayed out. If I went in here and say, now I want to allow them to use my statistics button or my statistics menu item, I can also go in and say I also want them to use the post. And in our company, we never use a post without printing. So what I actually going to do is to go ahead and hide that function in here. So if I now go back and look at my sales header and click new here, I'll see that now my post button is, my statistic is available in here, and my post button that used to be here is actually now gone. If I look at my invoicing tab, my payment terms code is also gone in here. I still have my payment method in here. So that's abilities in here. And if I go look at my credit memos, I can of course look at the list, but if I try to view more information than my fact boxes and lines shows me here, I can't see that one because I'm not allowed to. I made that form non-editable. So that's really the field level and the action level security that you can do, allowing a very, very fine level of control of what people actually can see in the client. The other side of this application is the data security. If I look at it right now, I have a list of customers here, and if I take a look at 10,000, for example, I would see that 10,000 use a posting group down here called domestic. If I go between the different records, I can see there's other posting group like foreign here and so on. If the user should only see the posting group domestic, I can go ahead and apply a data filter for that one. Most of the time they also work in the blue location, so I also want to go do a filter for that one. But let's go back here and look at my security setup for user. Again, I could do it for the blank user, but I have my own setup for my user down here. So I'll go ahead and select the domestic code in here. So if I now go back to my list of customers, now my list of customers is very limited. If I look at my filters, I can see a filter for the blue location up here, and I can get rid of that one, but I still don't have the full list because now the list is much shorter. So let's take a look at what it actually was that I did with this domestic filter in here. And again, I can have different filters per object. So right now I have page 0 down here. If I take a look at that one, that means in my customer posting group, I apply a hidden filter for blank or domestic in here. In my location code, I do an editable filter for blank or blue in here. Let's say this person, when they actually create a new sales order, they need to have access to see all customers, but they should not be able to go to the cart. So I'll add the customer list in here, and I'll go in and say I don't want to have a filter on my, so let's find my location code here. That is, so my location code, I want to have an editable filter for the blank or the blue location, because that's where but I don't want to have a filter for my posting group in here. So if I actually go in here, I now have one different filter on my individual page down here for the customer list, but everything else applies like that one. So let's go look at how that actually now works if I create a new sales order. So if I do look up here, I can only see those ones that are actually the blue and blank location. If I go look at the advanced list, it makes more sense in here. I can get rid of that filter if I want to also. And if I take a customer here that is not in my location, I can actually go edit this one, and it basically tells me that that record cannot be located, and it shows me the first one I allowed to see. So I have a different filter on my list compared to what I actually had on my card in here. So I can have those abilities in here. Another place where filtering can be very useful is actually in the chart of account. So if I go back to financial management, general ledger, chart of account, if I look at it right now, I can see all accounts in here. And if I look at one of the accounts down here, like the cleaning account, for example, I would see that I have a total out here of 26,000 out here. And if I drill down to that one and choose another column, like the department codes, I can see that I have posting on multiple departments out here also. So if this user only work in the sales and maybe blank, I will go ahead and apply a filter to that one. So first, I could do it for everyone, but let's just do it for I'll do it for the blank user, so it applies to everybody. And it defaults to read only, so I can't by accident create a record or something like that one. And I actually need to open up the menu items if people need to do something. But then I can go in here and say I want to add a new one. And this one would be direct and sales. Or well, let's say I want to do income and sales. And then I can go look at the individual objects down here, and I want to do my page. And I want to go ahead and say I want in my income balance field, I want to have a hidden filter of 0, meaning that I don't want to see it. The other thing I also wanted to is in my global dimension filter one, that is my department code. Again, I want a hidden one for the blank or the sales department in here. And I could go ahead, if this one is a person that types in sales order, I could go ahead and say in direct posting, I actually want to have an editable filter for that being yes. So that'll be kind of like a helpful filter for the person to only see the accounts they can actually use directly. So let's go apply this direct sales now to my user here, or to my blank user, so it's for every user. If I now go up, open up my chart of account, now I see a lot fewer accounts. If I look at my filter, I have my direct posting, I can get rid of that one. And if I go look at my cleaning account down here, I can see that my 26,000 is now 13 down here. So and of course that also applies to the entries that I can only see the one I'm allowed to down here. So another option is to also apply dynamic filters. Filters that changes over time or depends on data inside the database. So if I go back here to my direct sales, I maybe wanted to only show the entries within a year, for example. So I could go down here and look at it, and I will go down and add a date filter. So add a date filter down here, and it should be a hidden one. And what I want to do is substitute the filter value. And as I now look at the filter value out here, I could do my allowed posting range based on my user setup and general ledger setup and a lot of other things. But I want to do this one about the year down here, and it will then go apply that filter in the date filter. And I made it hidden so the users can't remove it or actually even see it. I could also go ahead, of course, and make it editable. So let's do that one so we can actually see what filter is applied there. So if I now open up my chart of account again, I now in my cleaning account have a very different total. And that's of course because I now have applied my filter based on my date filter here that I have applied for limiting total. I could get rid of it because I made it editable, but it don't need to be that way. So that's basically how it works. If I wanted to add this functionality in more tables, it's part of the setup, and the setup currently only runs in the Classic client because it's a programming task. If I go down and look at how it's done, I have a file name up here that I need to change in here, but then I have a list of tables where I currently implemented it. And let's say I wanted to do my purchase header and purchase line also at this time. So add them to a list, and then I'll go in here and say I want to implement my changes in code. This step requires a partner to assist with this one if you don't have bought the developer environment for NAV to export in text. But it also just go in and write all the code, and at the end of it, it will ask me to import the objects so I can actually then have the new functionality. So this one only modifies code in forms and pages, but that can actually also be tricky when you need to upgrade. So one of the things it can also do, it can also remove all the code. So if you need to upgrade, if you need to merge another add-on or ISV solution, you can do that one easily. Simply remove the code, merge it or upgrade, and then implement it when you're done with it. So it's almost done here with the implementation. And there was 209 objects. Only a few of them, or 27 and 25, needed to be changed because the other one were already done. And I want to import my changed objects. And I will need to go here and compile them. That's my 55 objects. So if I go and look at my purchase area right now, I have all my menu items. I can hit new. Purchase quote is all editable. Let's just apply the user security setup for everybody in here. I'll create a new record for 38. Defaults to read only. That's a new role that's created automatically. So if I now go to purchase orders, menu items are grayed out. If I click on one of them, it's non-editable. All the menu items are grayed out. That's the only thing that is required for actually implementing the field level and data security in a new table. And if I wanted to remove it, I would go back here to my setup and say I wanted to have another text file I'm working in here, and then basically just go ahead and delete all the changes. And it suggests to do all of them, but I'm only going to do the 209 objects because it runs a little faster here. And now it's deleting all the code. So that's how easy it is to actually do all the implementation of the field level and data security in here. Take a few more seconds and then it should all be done. The install engine can actually also be run from the RoleTailored client. The only thing that needs to be done is you need to export the objects manually to a text file before you can actually run the install engine on it. So since the RoleTailored client don't have a development environment in it. So 209, it removed all the code from forms, and it removed it from the pages as two of them that didn't have any code implemented. And I don't want to import the changes, but else that would be the only thing that would need it. Import, and then it would be as objects where only date and time was changed. Easy Security is available in 3.6 or later executables, and it's independent of the application version. So you can use it with a 2.6 application if you're still running that. There's only new objects, so you really don't require a merge at all. And currently it's available in 8 languages. It's all the Western European and North and South America languages available. It can be really, there's 3 different setups that could be useful for it. You can use only the login and restore portion, and that's $800. If you also want to be able to record the roles and the login and restore points, it's $2,000. Field level security can be purchased by itself, and it's $2,400. If you decide to get the complete solution, both for roles, logins, restore points, and the field level security, you have to pay $4,000 for that one. MergeTool.com offer fixed price installations, and we also have support if we do the installation, and there's no other NAV modules required to actually buy the Easy Security solution. If you want more information, there's a lot on it on the MergeTool.com website. If you want a demonstration version or have other questions, feel free to send an email to info@mergetool.com, and we will respond back. And we can also do online demonstrations if you have more questions than normal.